We're getting into map number 1 now as they take on W7M on border.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this M80 versus W7M here on border. A map that we've been seeing so very much so far this tournament, so why wouldn't we have it here yet again, John? I do believe, and yes, indeed, it is our most played map. I'm just going to refresh everything real quickly on my end just to double check that nothing changed in our last couple of bouts. We did have one extra play, so this will actually be the 18th play here, not the 17th. That already got covered. There's been 200 rounds played on this map as well. It's tied up with Clubhouse, which had 201 rounds played so far. So just 400 rounds between those two maps. Absolutely ludicrous. We're going to have a couple more here, right now. We're going to have the Ying band, the Glass band as well. A very unique one from M80, but they don't want W7M to have that little flair in their back pocket.
Custom tailoring it against him. It's an interesting pick. Even the Ying one, kind of an interesting target, potentially being thrown out there by W7M. As not wanting to potentially challenge that. When we see M80 get onto the attacking side, they're going to remove that from play. The defender band's going much more to a normal point here, as far as I am concerned, is Solus. That's going to be the first one to get knocked out. She's oftentimes been the first pick on band for quite a few of these matches. Also the newest operator. Definitely a bit tuned up at the moment, as some teams would agree with that statement. So we've been seeing her banned out quite a bit. Valkyrie, though, corresponds to that one, which means we will have a zombie left in play. That solo capability to ignite a single player into areas like the security room upstairs is going to be alive and well just because of her utility.
Absolutely. These defensive bans as well almost feel like border perfected for that side, right? You want to get rid of the Solus, want to make it where they can't get rid of your drones early, get rid of the Valkyrie, kind of hinder their info game as well. These offensive bans working in pretty swimmingly as well for both sides. The Glass one, obviously very unique, probably not something that M80 was going to use at all, so really just a spot ban against W7M. But as for the Ying, that's something that M80 is quite proficient with, and a lot of teams are, so definitely think it's a good consideration moving into this map. Excited to see what W7M can pull off now. We've got the Mira in, as well as the castle barricades. Let's look to see what they kind of want to break up with these. Looks like we'll be able to get rid of things over on the jungle side and make it a little more difficult for M80 to transition through these rooms on the base floor.
Away from that, though, no huge surprise is going to be showing up the fact that we have that upstairs commitment to begin with here from W7M, as Stokes already mentioned the castle there, just kind of creating a little bit more of a maze for M80 to try and work their way through. Should have no trouble dealing with that utility, of course, specifically with Diaz coming onto this one on the Ash, and plenty of other mechanisms to get past that aside from that, too. Gridlock is going to be the interesting one here for M80. A lot of ways they can basically just block out access, specifically to the closet part of this site, too, down below. If they are able to get full coverage on that with the track stingers, it's going to be very difficult for W7M to pull off a retake should the case be slapped down onto the ground.
Well, I think the elephant in the room here has got to be Gridlock. You know, we have this moving in with the track stingers, something that we don't really see very commonplace when it comes to this map. Fantastic for the stairwells as well. So I definitely think that the track stingers and Gridlock could really shine through for M80. Might get some control around CCTV, where that could be easily exploitable as well. On such a small map, very condensed, those track stingers really do shine. So now for M80, transitioning over to an office take. They've got some air jabs to try and suffice. The secondary shotgun works well here too, super shorty for Spirits, and he'll apply it handedly towards the office wall.
Julia with the position downstairs, patiently waiting for an angle against one of his opponents to be able to pop something out here, but not going to be able to find it this early on. However, what he is going to be able to do is deny some of that hard breach being chucked back in there. Selma, I believe, being deployed by Kino, is shot out immediately by the M590 from below. Kino, of course, latching on to this one, catches it, now starts to attempt to establish a counter angle, but as you can see, the rotate for it is blocked off. Julio has put some forethought into this one, and even on the hop in here, it won't necessarily be a safe push outright to take him down. Pressure is still on, don't get me wrong, though, for Julio, as he is the target right now from M80 to try and lock him out and open up a pathway to potentially to the site afterwards.
Unfortunate for Julio. Backed off that angle. He'll be droned out now, and they successfully found him back inside of stalls. Spirits trying to get aggressive. Oh, the big shotgun play from Julio will take him down. Has a nice little rotation and play back towards the teller's window here as well. DS will be able to take down JV92 all in the process of this. Selman's out, creates some new angles for Kino. He's also got the case in hand, so M80 have got to assist him here. He's locked up on this side, air jab in. Not really going to assist. Trying to get some pressure in from the door, but the smoke play starting to work in too.
Big jump up comes in there from Julio as he's finally ready for the challenge, but immediately decked by Kino. The rest of the M80 roster trying to swing their way forward. Yaga on point here to establish overwatch for the flank. W7M will realize this, back away, and just maintain their upstairs presence as a result of that. Not going to try to play for any crazy flanks. They have too much overwatch for it. And on top of that, I mean, they still have these top angles that M80 have not really cleared out yet. Kino, though, able to find an assumably safe position to go for a plant. Quickly re-guesses on that, however, puts himself down into a new spot. Same thing happens the second time here. He cannot find a safe harbor. The good news is he's drawing rotations in from that upstairs hole, but they are still quickly collapsing upon this. Diaz now the only one remaining, and KZ closes it out. W7M give a definitive first round here. That upstairs clear attempt never seen, unfortunately, from the M80 side. And as such, they will drop things down here on round number 1.
A picture-perfect display of how to hold things down from the top floor, abusing the full verticality from the defensive end, something that we don't see a lot of teams able to pull off to such a degree. So very well done from W7M. Not a single body on the site. Get everybody killed through the hatches and everything else in between. M80, some solid pushes. Love that they tried to go for the control onto the site, but a lot of the frag potential lost, not really able to show their teeth like they're used to in the early round.
Yeah, Julio's hold down below was great too, just because it denied that hard breach that would have more than likely led into M80 clearing things out on the top stairs roam. As a result of his position, they really couldn't continue with that clear. Had to go down, take him down instead. Well, yes, they did it. The problem was they needed like 3 players in position to be able to pull that one off. And by the time they killed him, they were like, well, we're already here. We might as well just go for the site. And that was when they made the fatal mistake of assuming they could get past it without clearing the upstairs hold. And the following resulting gunfight ensued.
Yeah, it was well struck from Julio. And like you said, I mean, just keeping Kino hung up for that time is really the killer of the round, because they had to immediately try and play for the site instead. And it gave everything over to W7M that they wanted in the first place, which was a low time situation, so they can use that, upstairs presence to try and collect the majority of the M80 bodies rolling in. So past that, though, into round 2, a nice little adjustment as we'll head towards the sky. Warden will come in, Mira will stay. How the Oryx, though, here from Herds and some rotations being made across border. W7M favoring a lot of these walls to be more open than what we see from a lot of squads traditionally.
Definitely try to play out their avenues a little bit more with that type of setup. M80, though, taking a few minutes to analyze it because of that, because it's not necessarily what they expect to see at the beginning of this round.
These Twitch drones are going to be big for Yaga.
See if he's able to move them into a pivotal position.
Lost one.
As he tries to sneak him forward for the mirror window, but as Stokes said, immediately spotted out by the Warden playing on the other side of it there. Shuts it down. Second one is nearby, so they can make another attempt at it. Let's see. Wait for the all clear, I think, from his teammate. Problem is JV92. It's easy. Yeah, this is way too easy for him to shoot it back out. The other drone. There's a drone for the drone here, believe it or not. It actually spots that one, kills it, and goes outside for the Twitch drone too, because there's no actual player presence on this balcony right now. Diaz, as you can see, is watching for a flank from south, if I saw that correctly. And yeah, M80 is just way too busy to be worried about that, so they'll lose the second Twitch drone here. Unfortunately, won't be able to knock out that mirror window. It is staying in place for the rest of this round unless they want to use hard breach on it.
I think KZ was feeling himself a little bit here on the break room door, ended up dying. So M80 have their pick, have plenty of time still as well, but don't have a way to bunker bust the mirror now that holds down their balcony. So have to try and transition this into something else. I try and move this over towards office, but as of right now, at least with this timer, looks like they're going to try and stick this out on this side. Julio looking to try and head this off. Nice little interaction here with the Ash. Not going to take the gunfight just yet. He'll roll back in. Once again, just trying to keep those bodies up. They are in a man-down position, so can't give any more of these big bodies over towards M80. Otherwise, this round will more than likely come with it.
Taking point. Don't follow.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has
Julio to move forward. He'll position himself on that balcony wrap. No actionable players in position, however, so he has to hold back. The tight angle, waiting to see what the next move is going to be from M80. Still has the option to fully wrap, even though those track slingers block his way over on the main hallway path. He will be finally found out here as he tries to inch just a little bit too close to that east main doorway. Elsewhere, Spirits is going to land the nice one via the nade against Hertz. Brings him down another number, but in pursuit of quite a few of these attackers upstairs, we're seeing W7M retake all the map control they gave up a few seconds prior here. Yaga finally puts a stop to that, at least to some extent, but Julio still going unnoticed here in the depths of Copier. They knew he fell back, they just didn't know how far, and that's the problem. They double guess on it. Diaz goes 1 for 1 against him. That's the problem now. Less than 10 seconds to plant down to the ground. He has to rush into the site. Doesn't have time to check his corners. And as a result, JV92 gets the free shutdown. It's a 2-0 lead now for W7M.
pra fuder, porra. Vai perder pro idoso, porra!
Guys, me escuta. Alfândega, Erdina de C4, Júlio de Biriba.
Tá.
Fechou?
Fantastic round so far. At least for W7M's sake. Through 2, on to round 3. Constantly able to get in front of the bull that is M80. Quite impressive what they're able to do from that position as well. You can see Julio there constantly showing face, giving that pressure over inside of 90, rotating off, going over towards Ease, has that little interaction with the man on the break door, backs off, throws himself over into office, just delaying constantly, John, throwing looks, making them respect him. The moment that nobody's watching that is the moment that somebody steps up and gets some big kills. That's the thing there. Julio is playing with that ghost pressure that exists in people's minds. So very strong, not only from him, but the rest of the roster as well. W7M really doing well when it comes to not only their delays, but also managing their utility. We had that early interaction with the Twitch drones as well that was handled quite swimmingly. So W7M so far so good, looking for a perfect rotation around, and not only that, they're going to Supplies Customs, and this is quite unique actually, John. 200 rounds have been played, this will be round 203. It will only be the 8th round played on Supply Customs. And it's at a 29% defensive win rate, so W7M could change that.
Let's see if things go their way. There's a quick opening towards jail. I believe goes off there. I believe a little bit more of an attacking round open for M80, but W7M have a bit of a late resistance play coming into this one. You can see the Aruni up on top punching some holes out to try and see if she can establish some winning angles against the push through jail itself, but no sign of the actual play coming in just yet here for M80. Still a bit more time needing to be ticked down. That Aruni, as well as the rest of W7M's defense, still has some time to bait out here before they're going to be potentially thrusted into action. Spirits very close to having his head get chopped right off there by Volps.
If that was not the ump, he probably dies. The rate of fire, you saw that bullet tracer right next to his head. Anything else more than likely kills him there. Able to literally slip through the bullets.
Reloaded.
W7M. So far so good, so dominant over M80, but this is looking like the round that they could potentially build up to. Hard-fought defensive site for W7M. This top floor position means so very much. JB92, he'll shut down Yaga. Goes for the swing on the outside, won't find much, but it's Herds instead. Shut down from Spirits. Potential for KZ there, won't find much. Spirits now looking for something on the top floor, but Volps makes his presence known. He'll take him out with the ump.
Matrix setup from W7M continues to trip up M80. They just cannot seem to do anything about these bunkers out from the site, as yet again they strike true and give a massive impact to slow down, if not outright destroy the potential of this attacking lineup. Kino moving in. No, hasn't even noticed. JB92 hiding behind the computer desk as it sits here. It's the prop that keeps him in it. Fires out. He was incredibly low HP, so it's a miracle he gets away with one. Kino, an expected play there, is able to trade it back out in a 1-for-1, but still, even just the single 1-for-1 trade he gets there is enough to pretty much lock in the round win. He'll try to drop it, and immediately Julio, with waiting arms, will receive him, sending out his spray in the process to shut down the round. That's a 3-0 perfect run now from W7M.
I was waiting to see if we were going to get the tack timeout there, and there it is. As soon as I say something, my hopes have been answered. So, M80 will call attack. Let's listen in here.
Remember what we need to do, bro. Just remember what we talked about before the game. Let's talk about that, okay? Now it's probably gonna be armor. Let's do the East.
It's gonna be workshop. It's gonna be workshop.
Okay, so, bro, let's get top. Let's do the East, like default. Let's get top for buffs, like we talking about, okay? Yeah. As you go hyper with Diaz, you pitch the guy there. You enter East and hold Raptors, yo. Let's get top. Don't, bro. Get up the comms. Shoot focus, bro. You still can win this fucking shit, okay? Yeah. Doesn't matter the rounds that we lost. Let's go, bro.
Let's go, boys.
All right, the pause will close out there.
A little tired, it seems. Just shaking off the day. That's always the thing about this slot as well. Is I mean, are you an early morning person? Are you a late night person?
Well, it's important to know this is W7M's second game of the day.
That too as well. W7M as well.
M80, this is their first the whole bracket stage so far. Keep in mind, they placed first in their group. So they had that upper bracket bye going into this one. Got skipped the first round of games, only just now moving into it here in the second round.
Yeah, which can be a positive and a negative, right? W7M, they've played a lot more rounds today than M80, right? So they can be a little more tired, but they're also more than likely going to be a little bit more on. They already won a competitive match today. This is just feeling like a longer day of scrims to them at this moment. As for M80, they're coming off of those big dubs, trying to pick things up here today. The ball rolling for their very first day back. And so far hasn't been the greatest. I think it was a great time for a tag timeout. Got to give them a moment to recollect themselves and try and reapply for round 4.
And as we get ourselves into those rounds, we'll take a peek and see how M80 looks to try and establish some initial control across the map. For the most part, just going to be the usual expected runouts here. Not saying runouts, but run-ins, I guess, would be more appropriate. As JV92 attempts to fire out a few bullets here from the MP5, see if he can grab a lucky shot or two against the players from M80, holding his counter position on the outside of jail, but none of that will end up coming to fruition. M80 still having to wait for their first real bit of intel that they can action upon here, and where specifically they're going to need to try and clear things out, as of course, fully rounded back now. W7M having the full side choice, and instead is going to go in towards Tellers here for their 4th round, the first go-around. So we start to lock things in back on round number 1. I mean, it looks like they are finally able to establish that first bit of control over here in the inside of security, with really only Spirits taking command of it for the time being, just opening up a pathway for the rest of his teammates to work their way into. The rest of the team, with a bit of a focus to be grouped up with his teammate in a moment here. Definitely seems like they are going to be trying to take things pretty heavily from that break room side, and indeed already looking to try and work on popping open the wall going into Fountain as well to split up this defense and prevent the hold on the inside of Office from being so successful, hopefully forcing down the players inside of this area. Through that hatch a little bit early too, and it looks like that play has been a relative success. KZ though comes storming in from the catwalk. He's able to steal one away there as he eliminates Kino. Diaz though is ready for an exchange, trades it back. W7M does not get away with this one. However, JV92 will find that pickup against Yaga. Directly contesting once again from the balcony doorway. Yaga tries to peek into it from the outside window, pays the price. And yet again, W7M now ahead. Maybe seeing an equalizer come in here though as Volps shredded down to low HP and finished off now by Gomez, but Volps gets a little bit of a goodbye present there against Gomez before going down himself. Herds as well, slapped through the soft wall next to him. So he'll be eliminated, and finally M80 has a little bit of an edge to play on now.
Oh, what a shot from JV92. Finds the lineup. Big nitro from Julio as well. It's down to DS. Looked like M80 finally had a round they're going to be capable of. They know he had to drop. Heard that singular shot. Usually a telltale sign. No one's going to move, though. Trying to play off their own crosses. You see him built up inside a bathroom here. No, he's on the cam. Rotates his way into Tellers. Swings back through. Close on the door. Big shots, but the TCSG's better. The slugs rip them apart, and W7M remain perfect on border.
W7M continue to hold on to this defensive side, still yet to give up a round against the M80 attack, and only 2 to go as well. A definitive scoreline that has been put forward here is only continuing to get worse for M80. The pause as well did not seem to bring out many results from the previous round, and obviously now it's been used up. There's no second chance at that one. How does M80 recenter themselves now? Well, I'm not sure if that's the answer, but we'll certainly find out as a Blackbeard has been soft-picked by M80.
It'll win you a gunfight.
But will it win you the round?
Those are 2 different questions. You can't do that to me. All right?
I just like being dramatic, you know? It's like
the Spirits is going to
the obvious
so far stick
question.
it. Yeah, it's true.
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was
He's
going to
found his consciousness. He's moved off of it. We've actually had a Blackbeard Osa setup. That's like the most like troll rank setup possible as well.
Yeah, was that in?
I actually can't remember. I did see it on Twitter though, but absolutely hilarious. They pulled that off. They're going to work the gridlock back in this time with the Nook, so might have a counter angle here from Spirits. Yaga will be back on the Twitch. The mirrors are in play, so we'll see if he can battle it out up against Volps again.
So Blackbeard this time, as you kind of might expect, just not really seeing him synchronize into the meta as of yet.
He's got secondary EMPs though, John.
True.
They can play him if they want.
And he, like you said, he can win a gunfight. That's,
He can definitely win a gunfight.
It's been a bit of a problem point for M80 so far here, his initial gunfight wins.
Absolutely hilarious.
It's actually not a bad strat to bring it in just for that.
No, true, true. Funniest thing about Blackbeard of all time is that he was so busted on release, we actually picked up a guy just because he was so good at playing Blackbeard. Like, he strictly just played Blackbeard and held Windows the entire game. But hey, man, it worked. That was the meta at the time. It's a good thing they changed that, because, wow. 800 HP on a shield was a little kooky, a little crazy.
Bomb located by
We've got Spirits
Oh.
making the initial insertion here.
A rotation back there? There is.
Does have it. His opponent rotates out from it, so not going to get the lineup, but patience.
I wonder who that is.
That's going to be the Oryx in the defense. Obviously, only defensive operator that can ascend through hatches, so moves himself into that one, retakes the position.
Looks like the alien from the Alien video game crawling up one of those vents. Whenever you see it through like the side thing.
It the alien from Alien.
Dude, I mean, what else? I can't.
You just took out the "the" and it would have made sense.
The alien, I can't remember what the other. It's the one with the space lady on the front of it. She's all scared and startled. You know what I'm talking about.
It's just called Alien.
The Alien video game, John. Okay, 4 rounds for W7M. All right. Not too much happening here for M80. I mean, all things considered, really. They've gotten some control down low. Spirits is waiting to see if they can potentially deliver a frag grenade and pick somebody off on site. Getting some positions around the physical site as well on these windows.
Yoga has that presence established for sure.
Almost shot Spirits there. Well.
Yeah, the angle almost didn't work out there. Nade pride for Spirits, but his opponent is on safe ground, I do believe, so not going to be able to make that one work out as well as he would like. Chucks it back up, though. Still may see this end up coming through. And yeah, like I said, off the mark a bit. Not really able to make the impact of that floor the way he would like.
What?
Spirits, though, still able to find JV92 as he crosses the threshold, but we will see that trade go right back onto him due to KZ.
JV92 feeling like challenging the verticality there, and so losing it out. So a little awkward, but so was that. Gomez swings back into the fire hose of KZ as he spams down the angle. It's a 3 versus 3. Make it a 2 versus 2. We're acting quick here. 30 seconds as DS forces himself up the stairwell. Have the Twitch in play, not anymore though, as KZ will take them down. Nice little shots there from DS, but they know he's in mini. Play back in, the nice lineup from Volts. Fantastic vector play. Eviscerates the member as soon as he rotates out.
Very much a gunner's game right now, as all of these rounds are just devolving into open gunfights for the most part for control over the sites. A lot of setup from M80 in the process of getting to that point, but once they pull the trigger, there's no stepping back. There's no resetting to try and re-enter at a different part of the map. They're full committing every single time. And to an extent, that is part of the problem, as W7M is just matching that energy, going for their own aggressive swings from time to time to directly challenge those pushes and make M80 second guess themselves, revealing the strategy prematurely and making it all that much easier for W7M to slightly adjust their setups if needed and get directly in the way of those plays.
Yeah, W7M are beating M80 at their own game right now. They're getting ahead of them in a lot of these assaults, and not only that, they're getting the intangibles, John. They're getting those untradeable frags. A lot of these are via, you know, verticality or what have you, but W7M has been able to either equalize or maintain an advantage all through these means. And it's what's gotten them here so far. 5 rounds in a row as they constantly abuse M80. Like we were talking about before, W7M, they are absolutely fantastic on the defensive end. A 60% win rate. M80, 59% win rate. But we see these two things, they're really not the same world, are they?
Certainly not the case. In terms of moving into the 6th round now, this is really M80's last chance to make an impact. If it's a 6-0 half, I do not see the comeback realistically happening. We could be surprised, don't get me wrong. It still could certainly happen, but on a realistic plane, it's more than likely not going to end up coming to bear should we see W7M clutch things out for a 6th time in a row. Almost a certainty that they'd be able to pick up number 7 at some point in the next 6, unless they have a massive drop-off on their attacking side. Well, I'll wait until that happens, of course. W7M still need to get this one going. M80 still may have a little bit of fight left in them once they get to that defensive side, and hopefully can try to dictate the pacing a little bit further, because it's just not in their current repertoire to control it as far as this attacking half is concerned.
M80 wrapping themselves around the site. Always an intelligent play to try and mess with these walls and passport. Obviously no glass here, so won't be able to see through that smoke, but I'll make it toward the angles, won't work against them either. Oh. If we might have an M80 player that could be in some potential trouble. Might actually be behind that wall out there, past that smoke, so really, really hope so. Yes, indeed, he is going to be behind that pillar, I do believe, so won't have to worry about that too much. W7M, though, once again, they've been able to delay for so long.
There's like no one in the site right now.
In comes that verticality yet again from W7M. They're holding things down on the custom side. KZ gonna let it up as JV92, he's got that gun so fantastic at range. The DMR able to step up with the EB14. He's just gonna keep holding on to this. He's got the hatch immediately to his right, so he's gonna play very safe here. The big issue, gonna drop down on that angle down low, so if anybody's occupying it, he's in hot water. But as for M80, it looks like the entire squad currently trying to work the top floor.
Good opening pick as they are able to finally isolate out JV92. Don't even give him a chance to clutch in that position either and pick up multiple frags with it. Not even necessarily the 1-for-1. He's just immediately overwhelmed by the angles with which he's being pushed from and is shot immediately by a player from M80 there. The thing is, M80 takes a lot of damage in the process, but they are still carrying this momentum forward. W7M may have spread themselves out finally just a little bit too far with this type of setup, trying to snowball things ever since we saw their extension get ignored back on round 1. M80 has been hyper cautious in clearing these out. And finally, I think it's all coming to a coalescence now on the 6th round of the half. Gomez knocking out Julio, leaves it down to 1. And that's a convincing one from M80 to end the half on. A flawless half as they just systematically hunt down the members of W7M all across the map, one by one. It is, however, just that single round pickup that they will find on the half. W7M still with a massive lead at 5-1. So let's see if they can get the closeout now.
Patience a virtue for M80 in the very last round of their half. Successful up against W7M, never getting too far ahead of themselves.
Defenders,
They're doing a big job of staying on the outskirts of the site and continuously trying to work that. Get those big pickups as W7M tries to rotate back or work some of the angles up top there. Constant discovery mode for them, and it works out extremely well. Now we're going to switch sides. 5-1 as W7M set a precedent for the defensive half. M80 now with a lot to do, 4 rounds just to tie it. Can still get it in regulation, but going to require a lot of heavy lifting.
Certainly the case. We will see a few repicks come in for W7M. Maybe not expecting the upstairs play here. So the Terror drone being swapped in. They're going to keep the Dokumi that it was swapped out for, but not necessarily needing the line because we don't have that collapse that's going to occur from M80's defense. No longer are they going to drop away to the first floor, where potentially W7M may lose sight of those players. The line not being as needed, and they don't even end up going for that initial pick too. Looks like Julio ends up bringing in a different flare for this one as well. So you still need a little bit of hard breach, so we're going to see the Habano swap back in there in those last moments for Julio instead. Still keeping both of those previous swaps, though, as the Dokumi ends up going on to Volps when everything is locked in. And we do have these guys spawned out on the map. Those are Terror drones already going to work here inside of the first 30 seconds. Knocking at the barbed wire. That'll be the first piece of utility. We'll see plenty more eliminated by it here, so that W7M can set up for a clear at some point in the next 2 minutes.
Silent across border. Nobody boarding the helicopter. Oh, Gomez will. The great helicopter in the sky, John.
It's the helicopter.
No, Gomez is a good guy. I promise. Well, unfortunately for Gomez, we'll be taking the long ride home. Keno's going to be trying to hold the door here. Oh, Vicious, love the work, Keno. You got to be confident with that. They want to play the angles that close, sure. Shotgun. That's the answer right there. Boom, stick to the brain, Herds. Let him think about it on the bench while he's dead. Diaz and the rest of the gang, they're ready for it. W7M, have they finally met their match? Is M80 confident enough on the defense to try and get this done? So far, so good from them. We're about halfway through. Volt still has a logic bomb, though, so it could still get muddy.
Going for a drive.
A lot of things that could be shaken up here just in the nature of how M80 have set themselves up.
Oh, here we go again.
As well as another member of W7M literally staring each other in the face. No reaction from either player, though. Tries to bring in his teammate, but there's a second element to this Yaga positioned a bit further back and not been noticed. W7M too forward with their clear, thinking it would have just been the one player with watch on that position here. KZ saving his teammate's life as well here by picking up the frag against Spirits. Keno, though, to eliminate his only other teammate, now puts it down into a 2v3. This East main push is all they have left in terms of map control and, of course, map presence to try and swing out onto the site with. M80, like we've been talking about in the previous half, matching the energy of their attackers here, getting directly in their face when they're ready to clear. And it has led to some serious problems on this round for W7M. A second round for M80 certainly in the cards right now, unless this final duo can come up with a big clutch on the remaining 30 seconds, slowly losing health here as every time they cross a major angle as well and get peppered down to low HP. It is not looking good here for KZ as well as Julio to make this happen.
And Julio, the only one with any utility. Long distance angles, Yaga, a lot of damage to him. Not seeing how this one's going to work out for him. KZ not able to really get too much. Julio with one, but you can see the great positioning here from M80. If that would have went wrong, the smoke is directly behind him. He just waits for the plant timer and then challenges. So much redundancy there from M80. Very well played in the clutch to clean up that round.
And so as M80 seem to find their center at the tail end of the opening half and now the beginning of the second, where will this game go? Does W7M find the immediate counter on another site and retake that control for themselves, still leaving us with a dominant scoreline of at best 7-2 for W7? Or is M80 truly alive yet again? It's up to W7M to figure out what they're doing wrong to counter it out. Will it take multiple rounds to find that now? Towers is the site play for M80, so once again, there's going to be heavy emphasis on that extended play upstairs into office. W7M will need to find a better way to clear this out, as that is where they lost their edge on the previous round, losing far too many players attempting to clear things in that department, and did not have enough player count left to bully their way onto the site from the 2v3. Will be very similar play circumstances here for the second round of the half, as M80 will look to defend similar extensions.
10 seconds to go.
Well, W7M recognizing what happened inside of the last round, John. The gloves have come off, not even metaphorically speaking. We've got the Finca in. We're ready for some serious gunfights. Everybody going to, more than likely, play a little bit more feisty this round as well they can. Volps can res them from across the field and also give them some HP back. The only one in the business that can do it. I'm sure Team Rainbow really appreciates Finca, as we did for quite some time when she was in meta. Not so much when the LMG started to take over, but hey, that's for a different time. No frag grenades on Finca anymore either, but the adrenal surges still quite prominent.
Boosting advantage.
Wolf's trying to set his teammate up now. We see the adrenal surges going forward, so if the window peak wants to try and swing into this one, Herd certainly can, but he's playing a very patient angle from the current looks of things, hoping to get that cross in his favor and not moving an inch in the process of waiting for it. A lot of patience. We'll have to wait and see if it will be rewarded. If you see a kill pop up on the feed from Herds, more than likely the answer is yes, but there's a few other trickier aspects of this hold that we do need to see W7M focusing on, most notably the potential play from Spirits on the inside of security here. A leap into action as he spots out one member of W7M on the rappel, not able to fully take him down though. Forced back further away from that one. We'll give the members of W7M a second chance to take him down a bit later on here, as the first half of the round has now transpired. W7M with a few setups, but have not been able to turn it into anything major as of yet.
And for both of these teams, you can see how much Azami has meant to trying to get through this map. She makes things so complicated on these clears. One of those defenders that we usually see banned, but I still think both of those other defenders really, really important. Even past that, you might just want to allow Azami to make it through so you can play her. She makes Border almost playable. Imagine that. Amazing op. Amazing for M80 so far. Gomez and the rest of the gang there ready and willing to go for things here inside of office. W7M trying to back things down now, but Volps with a nice kill. KZ will get taken down as well from Yaga. W7M, they're going to work their way back outside of the building and try and reinsert closer to the site.
M80 continues to step back here, inch closer and closer to their actual setup. So he goes in. It's not going to be down these players, though. It's going to be Kino with the double kill on the shotty. Just not giving W7M an inch of vision against him. It's got to be JV92 on the flank to re-equalize things after that double kill is picked up. But once again, what do they have left? Certainly not enough to take the site with, especially from a 2v3 perspective. M80 still has a top-down angle established against these players. Gomez goes for one. The second, potentially in his cards as well here as Herds tries to make the clutch now. The 1v3 set before him. If he gets this kill, might have an angle to get the plant, but not even being given that opportunity. Time will run out, and M80 win it on that one, as they are back in business now, it seems. 3-5 at the scoreline, only 2 rounds away from the tie point now.
2 people. I killed 2 people like in passport. Like walking through. Like what the fuck are they doing? Let's go, boys. Get up.
Keep it up, keep it up.
Yo, listen. I know these guys, bro. They're probably gonna try to go for a quick plant, or not quick, but they're probably gonna try to go for a plant eventually. Like they're gonna take top.
You play customs, Kenny? You play customs?
Yes. Sorry. I was just
All right, so another round coming at us all here. And we have W7M once again looking to steal control from M80. This time going to be over here in supply, as well as ventilation. As we work our way into it. No huge surprises again for our defenders. The attackers, we'll see if they try to modulate anything. A very straightforward lineup so far for W7M. So we've seen this game continue to play out in that fashion too. Just a lot of traditional clear on the extension and follow through into the site. But the problem is W7M, well, they have been able to clear out the extension. Usually not with a advanced player count has been their problem. Always been down by 1 or 2, and usually with a very low amount of time to actually execute, making it an incredibly difficult task to work their way into the site with the limited time they do have.
Well, W7M was looking fairly plain Jane there. Really just the structures of a offensive lineup when it comes to siege, soft destruction, hard destruction, and some droning. But they've changed a lot of things up. They bring in the Yana, the Nomad, as well as the Buck. And that soft destruction pair there with JV92 and the A's, so changed up quite a bit from what we originally seen. As for M80 though, so far so good on their defensive sides and really been able to replicate what we saw from W7M, what gave M80 so much trouble on their offensive end. Just muddying things, making it quite complex to try and clear the majority of this, rooms and get everything up towards the site. The map just quite complex at the end of the day with the structures that we've seen from both of these squads, especially with the zombie in the mix. Everybody trying to play aggressive as well. You can see, even when the armory panel, or rather the armory bomb site was in use from W7M, still having that wall open, trying to play off the balcony. Everybody really trying to get in the face of the opposition when it comes from the defensive side so far. And speaking of which, looks like the shoe might be on the other foot here for the Buck of Volps.
Spirits with the play potential here. Swings out for it, but KZ already thought he wasn't going to catch it this time. Spirits, I thought, had good timing upon it, but the second peek instead will yield better results. Yaga outside, grabbing that trade onto KZ, but of course, the one we saw on camera, Gomez, also able to knock out another member of this attack from the depths of Beepers too. Gomez trying to trade it back, but Herds once again pulling a fast one onto Gomez there. Spins the duel back into his own favor instead, and equalizes us down to a 3-player count for both teams.
A little update there for the W7M side of things. Everybody trying to work the top floor, have some opposition still down low. That's going to be the Warden of DS. 2 players positioned upstairs. M80 so far so good. Really looking to see if JV92 and W7M can get things going on this top floor. They still have that clone of the Yana, but not looking to use it. Kino, he's going to get aggressive. They're constantly getting bodied. No respect for Kino on this top floor. He's making his name known here. King Border finally gets shut down. Julio will be the man mincing the meat. 2 versus 2. 30 seconds remain. Nades in hand. Still opportunity to get this plant down. Just have to try and find a home. Lots of counter angles being adopted into M80's play right now here. This could really throw a spanner in the works.
W7M not really with an excess of player health to go for these peaks with. Herds will pay the price for that now as Yaga knocks him down. Yaga knows as well this is the end of the round, so doesn't even bother to go for the aggressive swing in it. Sits back, relaxes, waits for his opponent to swing him, and shuts him down nice and easy. M80 now on the forefront of this yet again, 1 round away, I do believe, from tying things up, and indeed that is the case as we are now 5-4. W7M in the lead, but W7M also going to call for a timeout. We're going to listen in with M80 here. They're the English-speaking team, but we'll take a listen anyway and see what is going on.
Voltar para fazer play agora no Arsenal. Pra mim, a gente faz uma da leste lá, a gente splita no final, como a gente combinou, a gente treinou esse dia, tá ligado? Vamos jogar beitando, porque os caras recuperaram um pouco a confiança do game. Então vamos porque eles vão ficar abrindo. Se eles fizerem o bagulho lá de ficar beitando de 2 no Arsenal, faz a tua HE lá de cima, vamos. Mata esse cara lá, tá ligado? Vamos pegar
não, eu consigo fazer bem e vocês comem ele, tá ligado? Só que cuidado com a fonte.
Não
por
dá,
mim,
não dá pra
a gente...
Mano,
então,
vamos
por
fazer
mim,
Arsenal,
a gente pega...
É só ribanar ali, velho.
Lobo Arsenal? Eu falei pra mim.
Pega a ossa
Não quer fazer a massa do sinal padrão.
Timeout's going to close down there. And you can see, of course, how streaky this game has been by our round breakdown you're seeing right there. Pretty much a perfect streak so far from both teams, as W7M have gone for 5 straight inside of the opener. And in response, M80 have picked up 4 straight on their own. One tail ending, of course, that first half, with the remaining 3 so far being on the defensive side. How will W7M, when will W7M break the streak here? That's now the big question on the field. Because if it's not on this round, then M80 are looking primed to take the lead away, and potentially this map along with it. Not the result I think a lot of people expected to see, given the fairly one-sided nature with which W7M was taking this matchup back in the first half.
Yeah, I do not know what is up with North America, but something's in the water. We cannot get ourselves out of games. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, unless you're SSG, that hasn't been going too hot. But hopefully that changes up. We'll have to see what happens for them. But as for M80 and a lot of these North American squads, they are keeping neck and neck with each other constantly. We'll have to see if M80 can potentially pull this map back across the finish line and look like W7M's all the way through. Such a dominant defensive half, as John was talking about. Now M80 with a showing of their own. Now the smoke and the mute into play here. Pretty traditional lineup for this top floor. The Azami coming through as well, but to be expected. So we've been seeing her time and time again here on Border.
30 seconds into round number 10, and we've got W7M deploying towards repelled positions. Not going to be able to swing their way into things this early on, but certainly setting up at least for a pretty quick boom into this site, as they're going to be playing heavily into those repel positions. We don't have the corresponding Amaru pick or anything that would come in line with that, so it is going to take at least another minute or so, I would imagine, to broil up towards it, but it does look like W7M are potentially priming themselves for a direct office plant. Archives plant, rather, if they can work their way into it. But sit back, and Volps actually establishes a great crossfire. Not sure if he realizes it, but decks the HP down. That's 2 different players now faltering. Diaz down to a sliver of HP, although that may have been from an unrelated gun. There we go. KZ, never mind, he's going to be able to finish him off. Yoga also heavily injured from a previous fight as well. Now taking down KZ, just taking command here of the main balcony entry as well as security, ripping apart both the players on defense for it. Gomez finally able to strike back a little bit here. Goes for another as well. Drops the other player trying to work their way in from the Archives doorway. JV92 down. It's a battle of titans right now, as an individual from either team is just going off. Gomez claiming the most recent one here against Hertz.
No lifelines yet, John. Can't phone a friend. Have 2 shields for Julio, though. 12 and 7 for KZ. Back to Yongshping form. Smoke for Julio as well. He's got case control. KZ, lots of noise on his entry point. Has to try and get this initial shot, but he can't make it happen, can't make it work. Shield doesn't go down for Julio. He has to try and get active. Some nice shots. He'll take out Gomez. The 5.56, Thermite's gun, tried and true. A weapon of the greats. Has that OSHA shield still. No smokes, though. Plenty of time. He's going to have to flirt with this. One smoke in Keno's pocket. He can use that at his leisure. Smoke through. Might be the swing. Keno! Immediately on the ground. First reaction. Masterful with the sword is Keno. At SMG-11 in his hand like a surgeon. Taking this man out on the other side.
You know, cerebral with how he reads into that play there towards the tail end of the round. Very, very well done. A valiant attack from Julio. Smart play to try and put the shield down in the ways, as opponents did not have any way to take that down. Unfortunately, they did have the Toxic Babe, which sent him off of his plan and pretty much killed the play for the most part there, with Keno especially reading into his rotation towards the breach in small office to shut him down outright. M80 have matched it completely now. 5-1 half from W7M matters not, apparently, as they are unable to win the first of 4 plays here in the second half. We'll see if they can finally change up their fate now that the pressure is truly and really on for them, with a potential lead loss coming up here. Very good possibility we could see M80 still close this out in regulation if W7M is not able to save themselves here. So one final go at it, and we will wait and see if the pause potentially brought out something new for this team that we're only just now going to see bear fruit.
Heading out to defuse a bomb.
Tie ball game between these two. What an action-packed showcase it has been so far. You and I already today, John, getting a pretty special treat when it came to the Dark Zero matchup against Sonic. Sonic's picking Dark Zero, assuming victory. Dark Zero being like, no, not today. 2-1. An incredible clubhouse. But now we have quite the border to talk about between these two. And W7M might have finally just found their footing on the offensive side. A more aggressive front. They'll take down Gomez, looking for the kill inside of Customs as well. It's going to force Kino back over into Workshop. Tries to go for the big rotation. KZ, lots of damage onto him. Verticality playing its way back into this. Spirits trying to rotate through, trying to get away. Some nice shots. The Skeleton Key. KZ, so much trust in it. No damage though, no dice. Finally, someone there to assist. He'll get marked up as well. Nice shots from Volps. He's got the 417 to party.
Volps continuing to wait for more opportunities to frag out now. M80 wants to peek into it. M80, very smart. They're not going to give up this lead. They've worked so hard for Kino as well. They're finally spotting out the drone. That's been revealing what's been going on this off rotation. Still not going to be able to stop them from eliminating him, though. The intel is good as he never moves to a new position. Diaz as well as Yaga now looking to make up the difference in the 2v4. Diaz cornered, though. Forced down, another drone popping up here. These things like termites. You can't get rid of them, it appears, for M80 here. It's haunting them on this round. It's giving away Kino's position. Now it's giving away Diaz's position. And by the time he realizes that he's been given up, he is thrust out from that position via some bullets, taking him down. Round number 6 is finally located by W7M just when they were about to lose the lead. But now they've lost their edge. Now they've only got this one singular chance to close it down. Otherwise, overtime is immediately activated.
Bora ver cara e bora matar ele, mano, agora. De novo.
Eu vou jogar na brecha, viu? Vou jogar full na brecha.
Pode jogar.
Tá, eu vou pegar uma dupla também, não importa o bom, foda.
Back into things we go after W7M's victory. A little discussion there on the bench. Probably very happy about what just went down there. Looking forward to what they can potentially get done with this Vince Workshop assault. Got the Dokkaebi and the Lion in here. Really liking what we're seeing, especially with the other three ops that we have inside of this lineup. Just a very aggressive front. This all back setup makes it to where W7M can be very active. They don't have to lean too much into their drone work. Dokkaebi making that super easy on them. They can drone things out initially and kind of keep things going that way. So they're still going to keep the Doke in the play. That'll go over to KZ's hands, though. Everything else kind of milling about. We're going to have the Sledge rotate its way in as well for some frag grenade.
5 seconds to insertion.
And as we lock things in, those repicks are going to come along with it. Stokes already broke them down. No further changes to be seen on the W7M lineup. M80 in the meanwhile. The Legion coming out for them. Gomez is going to try and trip up some of this more direct action, which actually could work very, very well given the foot-forward nature with which W7M have been playing things out so far on the attacking side. So a trap operator into the mix is certainly going to slow things down a little bit. And considering we were already playing pretty much the timer on quite a few of these rounds, it could be what potentially pushes set timer over the edge and into a winning M80 position here to tie them up once again at 6-6. JV92, the first into the building though, as he goes for some quick clear over by East Main, not being too heavily defended by the M80 roster, so it is his for the taking off rip. But we're going to see M80 still with quite a bit of presence, just more aimed on the lockers, of course, and security side with a few rotates to support each other if necessary. Kino over here by Customs right now, but not a lot of play potential for him, so we'll check in with him a tad later as the rest of W7M also trying to set up to support their teammates' initial conquest now.
One of the slower affairs we've had so far between these two. Nice drone placement here from Volps up in the dome. Pretty common one, but still a goodie at the end of the day. All Sledge action there. Spirits attempts to track him through the wall, but simply on the tailcoats of the Sledge player. W7M mostly just herds. It's gotten in on the backside. That logic bomb allowing him the space. Notice that entire back area is clear. No U-jammers abound to try and help M80 just run over top of those things. That logic bomb will go away. Unlikely holding up walls and other things. Not really something you consider when it comes down to that utility unless you're going to be playing an area right on top of one. As for W7M though, this has been a fairly easy clear so far. No real pressure from M80, but they haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes of this one just yet.
Spirits and the rest of M80.
Reload.
Simply just waiting this one out right now. In such a pivotal play, It's not going to be wise for them to try and make the moves themselves. Volps, though, still navigates around that tricky setup from Gomez sitting on the other side of the soft paneling. And even still, M80, Spirits specifically, trying to force the issue for the trade. Nearly gets it, but now the cross comes in from another player. JV92 up on top, but M80, look at them, spinning those kills right back into their own favor. Beautifully crunched by the defense. Only puts it down to a 2v3s. The job's not done yet, but certainly has brought it to a much safer point for our defenders here. As the two remaining W7M members are grasping at straws now as to where they can find their next play from. Julio just gonna have to take a risk on it here. Has the lineup, the spray goes wild. Better chance at closer range there against Diaz to knock him out. But still needs to lock this play, and going for a cross in the process just walks right into Kino. That's the case, down on the ground, and Yoga to grab Volks as well. Overtime is triggered as we go the full distance on map number 1.
2 5-1 halves from the defensive end. Nobody able to put it together.
Was that back or Armory? Armory's solid. Actually, no, Armory was fucking scary last time, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we never lost it, though.
Okay, Armory. Let's go Armory.
So no Armory then, boys?
I don't think they're going Armory, John.
We are going Armory, so.
Get over your fear. We're going to Armory. I don't care that you're crying.
Great conversation there.
Oh, man. M80. Hard relationship there. Might need, like, therapy or something after this.
Well, let's see if they can clean things up. Make it a little less scary for themselves this time, as they are going to end up in Armory when everything is said and done. W7M, of course, with the line to correspond to that. Nomad specifically to try to block out all this movement. This has been a very movement-heavy defense from both sides with regards to players on either end of that defense have just been swinging for the hills in a lot of these rounds here. So they're going to try and limit that potential a bit with the Nomad pickup here.
They've been trying that, to be fair, and the activity has been through the roof from both of these teams. You know, at the end of the day, air jabs, all good, all fun, and it seems like 3 is a lot. It's not. it's really not when you're playing against the right team, John, especially when they have impacts. That's the worst thing in the world. They can just get rid of it at any moment in time, and then you're still dead.
Or soulless.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. There's so...
Then it just shows you where they are.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things. There's so many ways for it to go wrong for you. W7M looking to make sure that doesn't happen for themselves. Just got to try and safeguard things when it comes to these opening moments, but at the same time, need a little bit of a more forward assault. Try and gnarl those teeth a little bit wider next time. M80 constantly able to recoil. Not only that, but do it to a positive light. That's been the biggest problem for W7M on this offensive side. Even when they get a big kill, John, and they're the first one to do it, the swing immediately comes through from M80. And W7M aren't ready for it. That's the big adaptation we need to see here. How do they deal with this fantastic team play, at least in the gunfights here from M80?
W7M, not enough confidence to try and swing the east main angle.
Oh, big frag.
Toxic Babe blocking off their access, but as Stokes mentioned there, very big frag landing directly on top of Gomez. Eliminates him. He's been the clutch player from these early frag positions too, and you can see that echoed in his scoreline there as he tops it out at the moment for M80 at 13-11. The rest of the team, though, more than capable, they should be at least, of stepping up to meet the challenge here. Just won't have that aggressive position against W7M, so they are going to take some considerable map control over the next 20 seconds or so. This phone call will more than likely be the sirens ring that's going to occur. Spirits realizes that takes a few steps back, but now recommitting. Could very well be in the winning position too, trying to scare W7M out of committing to this one, and it works in the case of KZ. He'll group up with the rest of his teammates by East Main and put that pressure onto Herds instead, as he now clears down the hallway. A drone would have prompted this, so Spirits is given the warning because of said drone. He's ready on the angle there, counters out Herds and eliminates him. Back into a 4v4 now to start the last minute.
Not a single one of these squads has been able to crack the Azami algorithm inside of CCTV. Constantly so much utility stacked up in there. No answers to be had. M80 fire back. Lots of damage off onto Yogg, though, from W7M. He's still willing and able. Julio will shut that down. No hope for him any longer. 4-3 here. The dying moments of the round still right at our fingertips. Nobody trying to get too aggressive. That's the odd thing. Those little interactions, just tiny little skirmishes. Nobody wants to fully send it just yet. And this is mostly on W7M. These offenses, they've been so difficult, and they've finally been able to manage to get some kills onto M80. Trying to respect the utility to the fullest, but now the Nitro sells out, the guns come alive, with the pressure from W7M on the backside. KZ with some big kills, Keno knocks him down, Keno's dead! W7M get it! Their offensive round finally works in their favor. It just takes overtime.
Once again, these rounds coming down, it is pure gun skill at the end of the day here. W7M barely with the positioning necessary to work that round. It's a brute force from one of their players through the archives and into the lockers where they find that final member of the defense hiding out behind beepers and shut them down. M80's turn on the attack yet again, and once more, unfortunately for M80, back in a very familiar position for them, behind by a few rounds here. And this time, there's no easy way to come back into it. It's this round or never, as W7M will win the map on this one.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
What an incredible affair we've had here so far on Border. It's W7M's pick, but M80 have been looking, or making it look like it's been their own. All these teams neck and neck at the current moment. M80 looking to use the full breadth to take their win on Border. W7M, obviously the exact opposite. Want to shut it out right now. But they do have that little safety cushion for themselves if things do happen to go awry. M80 potentially with a harebrained scheme. And mark the line and the Dokkaebi in here. Maximum potential for trying to lock up these W7M players. And honestly, love this strategy from M80, John. W7M so dominant from this defensive end, just like M80 was. And it was all due to the activity that they were able to produce.
So with W7M back on the forefront, let's see the winning strategy that they will deploy us towards here now. Try and sink their 8th and final round of this map. Needed the full distance pretty much in order to get us there. It's not an expectation they had. The pre-fire from KZ goes a little wild here. Doesn't even end up taking down the drone. As a result, man, he is going 6 different ways in his brain right now. They're trying to figure out what to do. But Spirits ends up thinking just a little bit quicker. He gets the peek out first, knocks him down. Obviously a very heavy cost to his own personal HP, but the job is done of that first entry.
Yeah, KZ's synapses were firing so fast that his body couldn't even...
He was like, do I shoot the drone? Do I throw the kunai down? Do I shoot him? Do I prepare for the shoot him?
I'd love to have a scan of his brain at that moment. Just everything is on. It's just all on.
Just like dial-up noises playing in his brain right there as he makes that play.
Oh, a little mirror window action here from Spirits. Still flirting with it, and I respect that. The fact that he is so low on HP and still willing to try and adopt these angles. Made it work out against KZ though, so can't exactly knock a man for trying.
Still see W7M keep that extension alive and well. M80 have not overreacted to the opening kill they've gotten by trying to steal away a massive amount of control. It has, however, left them in a much more confident position to set up on the outside of the Archives push. Be very bold if we see them go for this play outright here. When you consider the lack of success this type of push generally ends up having, but at the same time, if they have enough open room to feel they can push for it, then by all means, put that pressure down. If you get the plant down on the ground, it's not impossible for the defenders to retake it unless they have a player count with which to bully their way back in. However, at the same time, if you make that attempt and it quite predictably gets nitro celled out or something else interrupts the plant and you lose the case, you are not getting it back.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
That is the case. Absolutely right.
Look at this, Gomez walking in
push,
now.
Gomez.
It's open for business. JD92 though getting a bit more of an exchange. Saves it from going completely awry. Thankfully a few more trades transpire from the W7M side also. They keep it under their control. Bring it back to a 2v3. Still working with that -1 deficit, but at least have a chance here.
Keno's gonna work his way in. Nitro cell ready for JV92. He has to trust it, but no, it doesn't make it over. Keno got off the plant though. Another Nitro, but it's wrong as well. Keno could still stick this. Nobody's gonna swing. They have the crosses. Oh, this might be it. M80. They might have forced the round. They have. Keno with the exit frag. Volt, so many fights to win, John. This is impossible. Never seen a more impossible moment in my life. Lay my bank account on it if I had to, but Volps might make me eat my words. Keno, though, might have went to death there for just a moment.
He had so many, like, death crosses to go through there just to get back to the case, let alone win the round there. Got past the first one. A very impressive shot at that range to go all the way to the back of break room and take down a player from the attack, but not enough to take it any further than that, unfortunately. So here we go. OT match point now for both teams. Next round wins it, irregardless of the winner.
At the top of the game, John, we were talking about the fact that both of these rosters are absolutely amazing. They're filled to the brim with talent. Well, look, we finally reached this point. 7-7, only the first map. That's the beauty of this, Cake. We're only about halfway through. Still plenty of icing, too. Only this round remains, though, for Border. So, hope you guys are still hungry, as Oregon will be next on this 3-course meal.
It is going to be the worst side for W7M, however, here as they jump onto the attacking side of things, as we're obviously in regulation. Both teams are only able to claim a single round from that perspective. So W7M going to have to dig deep and make sure that this one works out. M80 already getting over the hump in the previous round there by winning things out on that Archives push, but how does W7M pull off the same thing? Well, apparently, okay, never mind. I was going to say Blitz is part of the equation, but Volps comes back to his senses there in the final moment, ends up going instead just for the Finka pickup here to boost the entire team instead of himself with that flash shield there.
We're going to have the Dokkaebi working its way back in for W7M, the Finka as well. I think that's a great adaptation for them. Touched on that one earlier. You know, M80 wants to get in those fights. Have the ability to heal yourself, pick up your teammates from across the map. Why not? This Adrenal Surge is so very useful. He's going to have the spear in hand yet again. Frag grenades in play as well for Hertz. As Logic Bomb is probably going to be the biggest piece of the puzzle here for W7M. As for M80, though, it's going to be Diaz here. He's going to be holding down the fort, playing inside of stalls. Logic Bomb out. I do believe they've discovered at least one member here. It does so happen to be Diaz as he rotates in towards Workshop. Might be some hot water now. Smokes in. Julio's going to start planting. Can he stop this? Oh, going to be an impact out. He's trying to find a hidey hole. He's going to start planting on the other side. Gomez doesn't know where it is. That impact won't stop it. Julio, I think he has it. The plan will go through. M80, they're not willing to cross. They're not willing to throw themselves at the side at that moment, but they will immediately after so many kills. Pop up from M80. It's a sea of blue. Gomez to stick it. W7M, they have to stop them. JV92 swings through. He's dead. Volps, he can't cover. M80! How have they done this? It seemed like everything was going the way of W7M. They ask, they receive on the plant. M80, they show up late to the party. But they're the jock, John. They get the girl.
It's a 1-5 comeback from M80 as they bring it all the way from the depths. We're looking at this score share right now. Just look at this, Sam. So streaky as both teams get 5 rounds in a streak back-to-back against each other here. It is 5 in a row picked up by W7M, but somehow they are unable to capture that advantage and capture map number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for the first map. Stick with us, though, as map number 2 is coming up right around the corner, and you're not going to want to miss it.